Alright, so welcome back to Into the Infinityverse, where I talk about certain aspects of the Infinityverse, the shared fanfiction universe that me and my friend Jason Voorhees 2011 work on together. So today we're going to be revisiting one video of one aspect I've kind of talked about before, but I thought it'd be fun to kind of delve a little deeper into. And that is the Kaiju. So the Kaiju is made up of Godzilla. You know, the Godzilla Kaiju. They exist in the Infinityverse, and essentially they are kind of like treated like natural disasters. They're more like the Kaiju are treated like as a natural disaster because you can't really fight them. You can't really fight them. They can only, like, the only thing that can stop a Kaiju is really another Kaiju or a really big mech. Now, let's talk about Godzilla himself. So there are specifically only been two Godzillas in the Infinityverse continuity. 54 and 55. So Godzilla 54 did happen. It did happen. That one died it did die after being killed by the oxygen destroyer. But then in Godzilla Raids Again, that Godzilla has been the Godzilla from... Because here's the thing. Showa, Heisei, Millennium timelines are all together. Like, it's kind of all fused together, and basically each Kaiju that appears is basically the movie date they existed in, the year that movie came out for them. That's the year they first appear in the Infinityverse. So, like, Ghidorah, his first appearance on Earth is 1966, which is the first which was Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. So, in the Infinityverse timeline, 1966 is when Ghidorah landed on Earth for the first time, or 1990. 1989 was the first appearance of that's when Biollante showed up on Earth. So each year is that the movies of those Kaiju they came out. Those are the years they appear in the timeline of the Infinityverse. So yeah, there you go. Like I said, the Raids Again Godzilla has been the singular Godzilla going forward. Now there is Zilla, who in our continuity did appear in 1998. He did attack New York, and that one has stuck around. The egg thing has like in here we kind of basically said it wasn't killed, it was driven off, but we didn't really talk about the eggs. I think we just kind of, I can't remember if we either ignored the eggs or just say they were destroyed. I can't remember, because Jason and I vaguely recall talking about this with Jason, and I can't remember excuse me, I can't remember if we either had Zilla lay eggs, or Zilla didn't lay eggs and just ended up on New York and was driven away by the military. So no, this is not the Zilla from the animated series, but those characters we do want to use in something. So like Hicks, Totopoulos, Monique, all of them, even some of the Kaiju from the animated show. I'll get to other Kaiju in a moment. But yeah, so Zilla appeared in 1998. Now, a few other things from the Godzilla universe we do utilize is G-Force. G-Force in here is a massive organization that is centralized in Japan. It does have like bases in other parts of the world, but G-Force is a main fighting force from Japan. It is treated like an international system. It's kind of like G-Force does build weapons to combat Kaiju, and also has Mechagodzilla and Mogira, and the Super X's. I think we also gave them Gotango too, if I remember right. We did give them Gotango. But They're more like, it's kind of like they're just there to protect as many people as they can and keep the devastation to a minimum. Because, like I said, kaiju in the Infinityverse are treated more like natural disasters than than anything else. They're more treated like, it's a storm, tearing through your country. God help you if it's two monsters attacking your city or fighting in your city. So that's the big thing, is that there's no real stop. Even with superheroes in the Infinityverse, there's no real stopping these monsters. There's no real stopping or killing them. It's more get out of the way and hope you survive. Even though, yes, G-Force in here it does have, like I said, the Super X's, Gotengo, Mechagodzilla 2 and 3, and Mechagodzilla 2 and Kiryu, and it does have Mothra. So, which actually, Mechagodzilla, real quick, let's talk about him real quick. So there was the Simians Mechagodzilla that did appear. That one appeared in the 1970s alongside Titanosaurus, and in our continuity, that more or less the wreckage from that Mechagodzilla was used to reverse engineer a new Mechagodzilla that G-Force could use. So the Mechagodzilla 2 in our universe, the Heisei Mechagodzilla, was reverse engineered from the Showa Mechagodzilla. Kiryu was then built as the upgraded model. Mechagodzilla 2 is shelved because it's been put in retirement, because it's been used since the goddamn 90s and been knocked around so many goddamn times. It was put into retirement. So Kiryu was brought in 2003 to be the more advanced anti-kaiju weaponry, even though Mothra is still used. But we are doing something different with Kiryu, and it's being updated, so it's kind of shelved. But we are going to show what happened to it. Actually, no, I'll talk about it, because Jason, when he wrote the Ghidorah spotlight into the Infinityverse, he revealed what it was. So I have no problem revealing it here. Basically, it's going to do drift technology. Yeah. Now, we aren't going to have Jaegers. G-Force isn't going to be building Jaegers, but it is going to be using the drift technology, and you might see Jaegers in a future timeline story. So yeah, there are Jaegers, but you're not going to see them in the Infinityverse for a long time. The drifting technology in the Infinityverse for this continuity is going to be prototyped in Kiryu. So they're basically Kiryu is being retrofitted with drift technology. So it's going to be used a proto version of a Jaeger, essentially. Also, you're going to love who we're going to have as the two pilots for Kiryu. You're going to, like we talked about, the moment we do drifting, it's these two who have got to be our first two pilots for Kiryu. And yes, you are going to see Kiryu take on a certain Zord that I'm sure you're going to see fight in the upcoming Godzilla versus Power Rangers comic. Anyway, so moving on. As for others, let's talk about the other monsters real quick. So Mothra. So yeah, we do have some of the kaiju from the Mothra trilogy, but they're going to be a little different. Case in point, Ghidorah is here, but Ghidorah was created a lot differently. In here, during a battle between Ghidorah and Lokar decapitated one of Ghidorah's heads, and it was taken. The severed head was stolen by Black Hat and the Society of Supervillains, who more or less created a clone, a like dark clone of Ghidorah, Des Ghidorah. So he's not so much a magic being; he's more of a mutant monster of science, and he's being used as the weapon, as a new weapon for the Society of Supervillains. He's currently battling in the. He's currently used to battle the Phoenix and Mothra right now in the Dark Phoenix storyline, which we are updating. Before anyone asks, we are in the midst of writing the next chapter. It's just the end of Act 1, and it's really fucking big. It's really fucking big. So the end of Act 1 is going to be huge. Excuse me. So, what else was there? What else was there? Oh yes, let's talk about other monster. Are you going to see Dagara? Yeah, Dagara's here, but we're not going to show him for a little bit. He's also going to be doing something a little different with the Barams, the starfish creatures. Just saying, there's another creature who has starfish as well, and uses them differently too. So just saying, the Barams are going to be used a little differently than what you saw Dagara use previously. So, stay tuned for that. Another thing we're incorporating from the Monsterverse is the Orca. But here, it's a lot different because it was created by Matt Hooper and Sarah Harding. As in Matt Hooper from Jaws and Sarah Harding from Jurassic Park 2. So there are, since in our continuity Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom doesn't exist, G-Force has incorporated people who used to work at Jurassic World. After the fall of Jurassic World, and it's becoming, Isla Sorna and Isla Nublar are gone. Isla Sorna is still around. Isla Nublar is going to get destroyed by a volcano, but all the dinosaurs have been moved to Sorna. But the staff, some very important people, have been brought on by G-Force. I should have brought this up in the G-Force part, my bad. So yeah, Sarah Harding, Ian Malcolm, Owen Grady, not Ian Malcolm, excuse me, Alan Grant, and Matt Hooper. So, yeah, Matt Hooper and Sarah Harding create the Orca, which the Orca is actually in here named after, in honor of the Orca boat, Quint's boat. It's named after Quint's boat in here. So yeah, Dr. Grant. I think we wanted to have Malcolm here in G-Force because it's all kaiju are literal chaos theory. So they are literal chaos theory. So yeah, Ian Malcolm is part of G-Force as well. Dr. Grant, Sadler, Harding, Grady. Owen Grady is actually in charge because each kaiju in G-Force have their own science team behind them to research and study them. Owens is Anguirus. Because he's the most dinosaur-like. Matt Hooper, his and Harding's were, and they were also using it to study the Orca with, was Titanosaurus. And Titanosaurus bonded with Hooper. So anyway, what was I gonna say? Sorry, I keep wanting to mention the other kaiju. I keep going back to stuff I forgot earlier. My bad. So let's talk about some other monsters that could appear outside of Godzilla. So like I kind of mentioned a little earlier, we do want to bring in some of the monsters from the Godzilla 90s cartoon. King Cobra, El Gusano, the monsters there. I even wanted use Nigel, just so I could kill him off. I should mention this to Jason, is I want to use Nigel in some capacity, just so I can kill the little bastard, because his screams of death fill me with nothing but joy. Anyway, so yeah, at some point we are going to incorporate like King Cobra, El Gusano, all the monsters. Even the Leviathan aliens might have a shot getting in here. I'm not saying they do, I'm just saying like there's a shot. Like they might. Not saying they will, but they might. So there's that. And I will say that there are going to be other monsters outside of Godzilla wheelhouse that may be showing up. So, yeah, stay on the lookout for that, because as you might know, Godzilla isn't the only king. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this? Do you guys like it, hate it? Just comment below, let me know. If you haven't already, hit the link below to my Patreon to get exclusive content. But other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the multiverse.